Hello, Mr. Fry's Algebra 1 class. This is April 6th. This is Unit 5, Homework 8, Linear Inequalities. You guys were working on the graphing calculator, typing in your problems using, the y equals, and then, typing in the problem and, setting up the graph that way. I want to show you without the calculator. You could use Desmos. That's a real nice way to do it too. But the way to do it without it is actually, I think, a little bit easier. You're going to go to, just look at this as a slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. This is your y-intercept back here, -4. So I go to -4 and I put my point on the y-axis at -4. Then I count from that point. My slope, m is my slope, so 5 over 3. I go up 5 over 3, up 5 over 3. I could do it again, up 5 over 3. And I'm going to draw a solid line because it could equal that. Y is less than that. So you look at the y-axis where it crosses this line where y values are going to be less than this line that you've just drawn, and that's going to be below that line. So you shade everything below that line. For number 3, we have to put it in slope-intercept form, and all I have to do is subtract 2x from both sides to get y by itself. And here you can see that I've done that. Now it's in slope-intercept form, and I can begin. I go to the y-intercept at +1, so +1 on the y-axis is right here. And then from that point, I'm going down 2 over 1. So down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And notice that there is no equal. It's going to only be less than that line, so I have to put a dotted line. And since y is less than this line, I look at the y-axis. Where is y less than this line? That's going to be below this line, so I shade this side. Another y is less than. Okay, another y is less than is here. I get y by itself on one side by subtracting x from both sides. If I'm going to change the sign on this side of the inequality, I have to change the signs on this side of the inequality. When I am changing a sign like this, or I'm dividing by or multiplying by a negative number, you flip your greater or less than sign. So greater than becomes less than. It's one little trick with this stuff that you got to remember when you're dealing with changing negative to positive, positive to negative. So this becomes y is less than x minus 5. So I go to where the y-intercept is at -5. And I have a slope of 1 because I have 1x. So I go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. I just connect those dots with a dotted line because it can't be equal to it. Not like number 1. This is like number 3 where it's just less than. So this line, where is y on the y-axis less than that line? That's below the line. Number 7, and hopefully you're pausing this as I'm going forward. I don't have a y-intercept. I subtract x from both sides. I divide by a -4. Dividing by a negative, remember, you're flipping that sign. So I have -1 divided by a -4 just becomes 1 over 4. A negative and a negative make a positive, so I have a positive 1/4. I flip the sign. So I don't have a y-intercept, so that means it's 0. So I'm right here at where y equals 0 on the y-axis. And then what I'm doing is I'm going up 1 over 4 as I do have a slope. So up 1 over 4, put a point. Up 1 over 4, put a point. Okay? And I'm going to shade everything above that line. So shading everything above that line because y is greater than. So look at this line that I've drawn, and where y is greater than that, so go to the y-axis, y is greater than that, everything above. This one, a couple steps here, getting y by itself, so that will be in slope-intercept form. I am subtracting 5x from both sides, and then I'm dividing by a -4. So divide by -4 on both sides. Dividing by a negative, I have to flip that sign from greater than to less than or equal to. Don't forget the or equal to part on there, that little line that's underneath there. That's going to tell me to draw a solid line. So -5 divided by -4 is just 5 over 4. 28 divided by -4 is a -7. So my y-intercept is -7, so I go to -7 and I put a point. 5/4, I go up 5 over 4. I go up 5 over 4. Okay, draw a solid line. Y is less than or equal to it, so it's solid line, and less than y is down here, so it's everything below this line. Number 11 and 12 I wanted to provide for you. This is undefined. It's going to be a vertical line, so x is greater than -6. So I go on the x-axis, I find -6. And I go to where x is always going to be -6. No matter what my y value is, say, y5, my x is right here, -6. No matter what, x is always going to be -6 for all these coordinates that are on this line. And x is greater than it, so I shade everything that's greater than it on the x-axis. It's always going to be vertical when you have just x is equal to or x is greater than or less than. When you just have an x and you don't see a y, that's going to be called undefined. It's just something you have to remember. When you have a y, this is going to be no slope. It's going to be horizontal line. It's going to be flat. Okay, no slope. This means y is at 1, and it could equal 1, or it's going to be less than, so I shaded everything less than. And this is where y is always equal. No matter what x equals, y is always at 1. Okay, good luck with the even ones, and hopefully this helped.